Hello and welcome back to season number 5 of the Brighton Career Mode here on FC24. I hope you guys are ready to get into the end of the season number 4 here. We're actually leaving off, or starting this episode right where we left off the last episode. We're going to see a lot of returning players here from loan. And I wanted to go ahead and start here because we did technically have one final decision make in this season, and that was whether or not we were going to bring back Lewis Dunk. He is a Brighton club legend, but unfortunately, we just don't need him. So I'm going to let his contract expire and let it run out. We're going to go ahead and end the season here. Very successful season for us. Second place in the Premier League, semifinals of the Europa League. I mean, we played very, very well. And it looks like the board of directors are happy to let us remain at the club for the next season. So we're going to go ahead and simulate to that next season, and I hope you guys are ready for it. While we're waiting for that, please be sure to like the video, and please be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers for this year. I mean, we're already, we're past 800 actually at the recording of this video. So already getting close to 1,000 over the past 4 months. It's been an incredible journey. And so, yeah, I'm very happy to be into season number 5 of the Brighton Career Mode. And we are here now. And here at the start of season 5, this is the team that we have so far. I'm just going to go ahead and scroll through all of it just so you can look at. We are very much set in a lot of positions, especially, I mean, look at center back. We've got, obviously Ndika and Diamande as the starters, and they're going to remain the starters. And then we've got very good backups for us as well. And of course, there's going to be a lot of players that we send out on loan. There's going to be a lot of players that we're going to sell, that we're going to move on from. We're just going to have to see kind of how the window unfolds here in the summer transfer window. Thank you guys for leaving your comments at the end of the last episode on who you want me to bring in. We're going to be looking at right back, especially Thierry Correa. I mean, he's been okay for us, but I'm kind of ready to move on from him, and I think he was ready to move on from us about a year ago. And then we're going to be looking at central midfield as well. Andy Diouf and Fabricio Diaz are very good. I really like using them, but I feel like if we bring in a perennial central midfielder, it could really change the game for us. And especially going into the Champions League this year, we're going to need as good of players as we can possibly get, because the level of competition we're going to be playing is going to be very, very high. We also might bring in a Cam. I mean, obviously central mid and right back are kind of the two positions we're mostly looking at, but Cam and then striker are going to be the other two positions we're thinking about going after. I'm thinking I'm going to let go of Anthony Martial as striker. We're going to keep João Pedro if we can, and then we're going to try to bring in like a world-class striker if possible. We'll see how much money we have, because I haven't actually checked that yet. Chad Miranda will stay with the team, but we might have to end up letting him go on loan if, we bring in another striker. Obviously, we'll have two really good strikers, so Miranda won't get very much playing time. And then at Cam, we moved Buonanotte from a right mid to a Cam just because we don't really need him over at right mid. And we're going to bring in another Cam. We might have to let Eze go. We might be able to keep him around because he can play out on the left, and he can just kind of play in central midfield anywhere. So we might keep him around, but we'll see how it goes. And you guys left your comments about players that you wanted me to bring in, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of those players, and I will just quickly scroll through them as well, and we'll kind of talk about the ones that I'm actually intending on going after. But right back, we got a few players. Nico Williams still in there. I'm thinking about him as well. Central midfielders, we've got a lot of players here, about 6 or 7 of them, and some of them very, very good, which could be interesting for us. We've got a few here that you guys mentioned. Thiago Almada is probably the one that I'm interested in most. He looks insanely good. Right wing, we got some players still left over. I'm not really planning on moving on from Kudus. I think Kudus and Garnacho are the perfect 2 players for us in that position, but we just wanted to keep him there just because you guys left some comments about him. Striker, a lot of good options here. I'm thinking about, I don't even know who I'm thinking about, honestly. Veliz is going to be probably one of the ones highest up on my list. Evan Ferguson is one that someone mentioned in the last, or at the end of the last episode in the comments, and I would honestly be very willing to bring him back. It's going to be kind of tough for João Pedro. He's kind of earned his starting spot, and then he's going to lose it again to Evan Ferguson if we brought him back. So that one's tough. But as far as, striking goes, he's the best finisher on this list. Besides, I think Veliz has 91 finishing. So, and then Evan Ferguson has 88 finishing. The other ones here, Orban has 85, still pretty good, and he's very fast. So he could be very much an option for us, but is only 84 overall, so not too much better than João Pedro. Timo Werner would be a backup if we decided to bring him in, but I don't think we necessarily need to yet. And Moise Kean would be one that I'm interested in, but his finishing is only a 78, so I'm very worried about that. And then we've got a couple left wingers still down here. Ansu Fati and Mudryk have been players that have been linked with us for a long time now. I'm not really sure we necessarily need either of them. Mudryk we could bring in as a backup, so if we move on from Eze, we could bring him in as a backup for that position. But we're going to go ahead and advance a couple of days so that we can see the email come through for our finances, and they have decided to increase the club's transfer budget this year by 344 million. So our budget is going to be 462, almost 63 million. So I think we're going to be able to bring in pretty much anybody we want. PSG have already come in with an offer for Thierry Correa of 32.5 million. I am perfectly fine with letting him go. Like I said, we're definitely going to be looking for a new right back to come in. Thierry Correa has been wanting to leave the club for several years now, I believe, pretty much at least the last year that I know of. We're going to ask for just a little bit more money. We want to get at least 35 million for him if we can. And as long as they agree to that, then we will be happy to let him go. And we get an offer in here from Liverpool for Eberechi Eze. We could get up to 68 million for him. He is an interesting one because he is very good and he's experienced. He's 29 years old, but I just don't know if he's really going to be the true cam that we need moving forward. Like I said, I think Thiago Almada is the player that I want to bring in. And if we bring him in, Eze is going to lose his starting spot, and he is a crucial player, so he is not going to be very happy with that. So I'm very much interested in this deal. Obviously, I don't want to strengthen a rival, but it would be a realistic transfer. So I think I'm going to go ahead and delegate this one. And if we can get 67 million for him, that would be very good. And I'll go as low as 63. And if Liverpool can match that, then we will let him go. There were 4 names that you guys listed as potential replacements at right back once Thierry Correa is leaving the club. And these are the 4 right here: Serginho Dest, Tomiyasu, Sacha Boey, and Diogo Dalot. I'll be honest, the 2 that I'm most interested in would be Boey and Dalot. Dalot, I think, is a much better overall well-rounded player. But Sacha Boey is a better defender, I think, and better physically, and then has more pace as well, which is kind of what we're looking for. He also has 5 more play styles, which, you know, doesn't necessarily matter too much to me, but it is nice to have those play styles. So I think I'm leaning towards Sacha Boey more than Dalot. So we're going to go after him once Thierry Correa is leaving the club. And as far as central midfield goes, these are kind of the options you guys have wanted me to look into. All of them great options. João Neves wasn't listed, but we've had him on the list for a while. I would only bring him in as a backup if we ended up having to get rid of Andy Diop or Fabricio Diaz. So he's just there just in case. Fermin Lopez was the guy that you guys wanted me to really bring in, and I would, but I don't know if he's going to be good enough to be like starter for us. I don't know if he's going to be good enough. Once the scout report comes back, we'll kind of decide on that. Honestly, all these players are virtually the same in terms of attributes and in terms of what they're best at. They're all going to be very good at dribbling and passing, and some of them very good at shooting as well. Obviously, Gabri Viega being 88 overall, he is the one that I would want to lean towards the most, but he is at Barcelona and he is a Spanish player and he's just very good. And I looked at the end of the last season at his stats in the Champions League and he played every game for them. So I just don't know if that one's going to make too much sense. So we're going to likely go after one of the others. Kone, Moretti, and Fertezi all played for those clubs that they are listed at now for most of the games last season. So we're going to be taking a player away from, you know, a club that he has grown to love. And then Fabio Moretti at Atletico Madrid. I mean, we could go after him. I don't think it would be too unrealistic for us to go after him in the position that we are currently in, going into our first season in the Champions League, of course. So I don't mind that one. And then Fagioli was a player that actually just got commented while I was recording this video. So he's another one. I mean, he's an Italian player at Juventus. I don't think that would make too much sense for him to want to leave them. And I think he plays a decent amount there as well. So as far as central midfield goes, I think either Kone or Moretti is going to be the players that we're going to go after. Like I said, Fermin Lopez, just probably going to be too low rated for us to go after him at this point. And then moving on to Cam, another player that got mentioned right as I was recording this video is actually Ryan Cherky, and I kind of forgot about him. He is very good, has a lot of play styles, which again, doesn't matter too much for me, but they do come into play a little bit. 5-star, 84 pace, good dribbling, good passing, good shooting. He's a very, very good cam and can play left wing and right wing as well. So another one that got mentioned was Arda Güler. He is very good, has a lot of play styles, very good attributes as well. His physical attributes, obviously not as good as others. He is, you know, a little bit smaller of a cam, but the other one that I'm really interested in is Thiago Almada. Lots of good play styles, very good attributes. I really, really like the fact that he has 85 finishing, which means he's going to be very, very good at scoring whenever he needs to. And all of his other attributes are very good as well, especially dribbling and ball control. Morgan Gibbs-White would be interesting. He is obviously English, so that one would make a little bit of sense, but I'm just not interested in an 83 overall whenever we already have an 84 overall, if that makes sense. And kind of the same thing with Mason Mount. He's just not personally a player that I want to use in FIFA. Kai Havertz would be an interesting one. Obviously 87 overall, very, very good attributes just across the board, 87 finishing. But if I brought him in, I think I would honestly want to use him as a striker more than a cam, just because he is 6'3". I mean, attributes fit very well for a striker. So, and then another player that got commented while I was recording literally just a few minutes ago was João Felix, and I kind of completely forgot about him. He's still at Atletico Madrid, and he's been, of course, wanting to leave for a long time from that club. and his attributes are just so freaking good. His heading accuracy is 99. I didn't even realize that. Finishing only an 80 though, that kind of concerns me because I would want to play him probably more as a striker than as a center forward cam type player, but he is a better option than a lot of the strikers we have listed. So João Felix and Kai Havertz both would probably come in and play striker for us over a lot of these players. And then I've gone ahead and transfer listed and loan listed a lot of players as well. We went ahead and transfer listed James Beadle. He's just never going to get in behind Mercier, and of course Verbruggen's still up there and 22 years old. I'm sure he's going to want to leave. And then we went ahead and loan listed some of our center backs as well. I think what we're going to do is have Diomande and Ndicka as our main center backs, obviously. Igor can be a backup still for us, and then we will probably continue to use Leonardo Duarte as a backup. So, and we've got Blake Curtis here as our third choice right back as well. We're probably not going to get to use him very much, if at all, so we're going to go ahead and let him go out on loan. Thierry Correa, like I said, is going to be leaving, and Lamptey will go ahead and continue to be our backup. Hinshelwood, we're going to go ahead and transfer list. Ribeiro can stay as a backup. We might let him go out on loan. Carlos Baleba is going to go ahead and be a player that we're going to go ahead and transfer list. I'm sure at this point in his career, he's just going to want more game time. So we're going to go ahead and let him go. He's just not going to get in over Diaz or Diop in the backup positions. Eze, of course, isn't transfer listed, but if Liverpool come in with that offer, then we will let him go. Buonanotte, we're going to keep around for now, and we're going to allow offers if they want to come in. Joe Bellingham, not really too sure what to do with him. We can transfer list him, we can loan list him. I'm good either way. He had a great loan spell last year at Crystal Palace, so he could be a very good player in the future, just not quite good enough right now. Garnacho obviously staying, Kudu staying. The right wing position is going to be an interesting one. Mazzillo, we already went ahead and transfer listed him. He's just never going to get into the team. Adam West is still out on loan. We can bring him back if we want to use him. He looks pretty decent already. 5-star, 5-star. Good pace, good dribbling, decent passing, decent shooting. Lenny Janton has been a player that has not exactly been a fan favorite of you guys in the comments, and then hasn't really necessarily been a favorite of mine as well. Just in general, using him, he just isn't that good. I mean, his attributes look great, and he's an 80 overall as a 20-year-old, but he just isn't that great using him in game. So went ahead and transfer listed him. We could get a nice chunk of change for him. Leonardo da Costa, I'm conflicted on what to do with him. I kind of want to keep him so that we can use him in cup games and as a backup, as a sub, you know, coming off the bench in Premier League games and things like that. So I might keep him around this season. I know that we don't want to ruin his potential, but he looks pretty damn good already, so we could get some use out of him. Anthony Martial, we went ahead and transfer listed. He's just not going to play for us. He's not going to be our backup or anything like that. And then Miranda, we went ahead and loan listed because we are going to be bringing in a striker at some point in this transfer window. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and simulate some more days and hopefully get in some offers, figure out what we're going to do with some players. Wow, and Liverpool have come back and said that they will pay us $67 million for Eberechi Eze. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that offer because I have some plans on what we're going to do in terms of that cam position and in terms of striker position as well. So I'm perfectly fine with him moving on to Liverpool. Obviously, it's going to be tough giving him to a rival, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes. And I feel like, you know, moving an English player within England kind of is a realistic move. Thierry Correa, we've actually had 2 offers accepted for him between PSG and Real Madrid for about 39 to 40 million. So we're going to see very soon which team he ends up choosing and which team he ends up going to. And we have actually gotten a transfer offer in here for João Pedro from Udinese, 62.9 million. We could get up to 91 million, it says, for João Pedro, which is, I mean, that's absolutely insane. But I'm not going to accept it. I want to keep him around at the club, use him as not necessarily a backup, but use him as a second choice striker, second choice cam. And it looks like Thierry Correa is officially leaving. So let's go ahead and see which club he chose. He chose Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, over in the French league. 39 million. He is a player that is definitely going to be still playing Champions League football, so he's not going to be upset with that move. Feyenoord coming in with an offer of 18 million for James Beadle. I didn't think we were going to be able to get that much money for him, but we will gladly take it. And it looks like Eberechi Eze is walking out the door of the club. 67 million to Liverpool, which is hard to see. And he was only here for one short season, and it got cut very short by the injuries that he had, so it is tough, but I'm okay with moving on from him since we have bigger plans. It looks like Brentford are coming in for Carlos Baleba. I feel like that's a move that would make sense for him. Still a Premier League level team, and he is 78 overall, so he is good enough. We're going to ask for just a little bit more money and try to get that 20 million if we can, but happy to let him go as well. And James Beadle has officially completed his move to Feyenoord for 18 million. And now we're going in for Sacha Boey, and we're going to go ahead and offer him a contract of 90,000 a week. A little bit of a signing bonus as well. We're happy to accept that. And Sacha Boey, the 84 overall Frenchman from Bayern Munich, is going to be joining Brighton Hove Albion for a fee of 50 million. And now it's time to go in for a player that is going to cost us our record transfer fee. We're going to go in with 98 million to start with, because that is what they said that we could potentially get him for. And we're just going to go in with a straight transfer offer, and they say 103 million. Let's go ahead and ask for just regular 100 million straight up. What a price tag that would be. And it looks like they are going to be happy with that. So Thiago Almada is going to be our new central attacking midfield option. And Udinese are now coming in for Anthony Martial instead of João Pedro, since they couldn't have him. They're going to pay us 26 million, and they're willing to pay us 26 million, and I'm happy to accept that. And Carlos Baleba has officially been sold to Brentford for 20 million. We are sad to see him go. He's been a pretty good player for us, but just was never quite good enough. RB Leipzig coming in here for Gedson Fernandez. He is a player that we are definitely not looking to move on from. But we do have a transfer offer here from Spurs for Lenny Jansen. I don't necessarily want to let him go to Spurs, so I'm going to go ahead and reject that offer for now, but we are looking to move him on, and I know some of you guys will be very happy about that. And Anthony Martial has officially completed his his transfer to Udinese for 26 million. And Chao Miranda has now completed a loan move to Burnley, which they are in the Premier League, so hopefully we will be seeing him perform very well in the Premier League, and hopefully his overall will grow. He's still only 19 years old, so it would be fantastic to see him grow to like a 78, 79 overall. That would be insane. And another big decision needs to be made pretty soon. I would say the central midfield position is our next priority. And out of all the options we have, I think there are two that really catch my eye. Fermin Lopez, his scout report did come back 75 overall. Again, he's just one of those players that I don't know if we're going to get him enough game time for it to make sense. As far as Gabri Viega, he's just too good. And he's a Spanish player playing for Barcelona. That just makes sense. So that one's not going to go through for us. And then we've got a few other options here. Fagioli, Italian player playing for Juventus. That one's not going to make a lot of sense. And really the difference between Kone and Moretti, there isn't really much of one. I mean, Kone is a little bit taller, I guess, maybe a little bit bigger. So physically he's more demanding. Has more play styles, which is nice because those dudes come in handy a little bit sometimes. But Moretti has much better attributes in some areas, and I think is maybe a little bit better overall wise. We're going to go for Fabio Moretti here. He's going to be one of the best players we've ever brought in. It's going to cost more than 100 million to bring him in, but obviously we got the money to do so. So we are going to go ahead and go in for him. That works for me, and it looks like it's going to work for them. Diego Simeone is going to be giving us Fabio Moretti for 107.5 million. And we are happy to accept those wage demands. He's going to want 10 goals, or once he gets 10 goals, he wants 1.1 million. That's good for us. And Fabio Moretti is officially a Brighton Hove Albion player. And that is how the team is looking after the signings that we have made. Thiago Almada, Moretti, and Sasha Bowie into the squad. João Pedro still up top. We're looking for a new striker potentially. I mean, João Pedro has been very good for us, and I'm okay with keeping him up top, but I think we should probably look for a top-class striker. And so I'm going to leave that decision up to you guys for the next episode. This episode is not over quite yet, but I am going to go ahead and go back and show you the players that we have listed in the transfer hub to be our new striker. So we have these options here. Evan Ferguson has actually grown to an 86 now in this episode. Belize at an 85. We've already taken Thiago Almada from Inter Milan, so I don't think that one's going to be too realistic. So I'm going to go ahead and remove him. Arezo is just not quite good enough, only 82 overall. We would only be bringing him in to back up João Pedro. And so these are the players we have left. Jimenez, Moise Keane, Belize, Werner. I'm not going to leave him in. Werner's actually going to be taken off. Gift Orban, a player that's been linked with us for a while now. Giuliano Simeone. And then we've got two players right here that, like I said, I would probably play them as strikers if we brought them into the team, and that is going to be Kai Havertz and João Felix. I think right now, the player I would love to bring in the most is João Felix. I think it would make sense. Again, another player from Atletico Madrid. So it would be kind of tough to take another player from their team, but we would obviously be paying them a lot of money. Could be very interesting. And then, of course, Kai Havertz, we could take him from Real Madrid. Would cost us about 100 million as well, 90 to 100 million. And I would play either of these players as our striking option, and obviously would have João Pedro still to play it behind them. And then out on the right wing, since we've moved Buonanotte to Cam, and since we've moved Jansen on to another team, or at least we're trying to, I would want to bring in Ernest Nouma as our backup right winger, and I think that would be a good move for us, but I wanted to let you guys let me know about that. So before we can get to the next episode, we have to finish this one out, and what we are going to do is we are going to simulate the next 3 games. They are going to be our preseason tournament games. We got Atletico Madrid, Dortmund, and Barcelona. So this is going to be a good test for us to see just how good this team is. and then we're going to go ahead and get into the Leeds game and play that one. And we, of course, just took Fabio Moretti from Atletico Madrid, but as you can see, they don't even start João Felix. I imagine just because of the type of formation that they're playing doesn't really allow them to. I would play him a striker if I was them, but they don't do that, so I don't feel too bad about taking him away from them. But let's go ahead and simulate this game. We're playing out our best lineup just so we can see how they play together, and they're going to go ahead and get a 2-1 win in their first game. And of course, João Pedro scores 2 goals for them to prove to us that he is still a very good striking option for us. And then we'll go ahead and simulate our second game here against Dortmund, of course, the team that knocked us out of the Europa League in the semifinals last season. We're going to be playing mostly a backup team, so I wouldn't be surprised if we take a loss here, but we actually get a 1-1 draw, much like we did in the second leg in the semifinal matchup against them last year. Bruno Nate with a goal, so Bruno Nate trying to prove that he should stay with the club, and I think I'm going to keep him around as our backup kind of attacking midfielder, winger, anything that he can fit into. And then we'll go ahead and get into our last game against Barcelona and simulate that one as well. And Barcelona's lineup is absolutely insane. As you can see, I mean, their front three is insanely good. Ansu Fati, I wish we could bring him in, but it just doesn't make sense to take him away from Barcelona because he is so good. I would use him as a striker if we brought him in, but it looks like it's not going to matter too much. We get a 2-1 win over them. Garnacho getting a brace in this game, proving that he wants to keep his spot on the left wing, and his spot was never in question. He was our top goal scorer from last season. So those are those 3 games done and dusted. Let's go ahead and get to this game against Leeds. And Lenny Jansen is officially leaving the club. Fulham came in with an offer of $34.4 million for him, which is, you know, maybe we should got a little bit more for him. Lenny Jansen being an 80 overall at 20 years old, he is going to be very good and could improve to be, you know, much higher overall, but it's sad to see him go. I wish we could have played him more and wish we could have actually used him to his fullest capability. He also just didn't really play that well whenever we did play him, so not too sad to move on from him, but it is tough because he was our best youth academy prospect that ever came through. And it looks like Leeds are interested in coming in for Leonardo da Costa, 2-year loan. We'll go ahead and let him go out on loan. If we want to bring him back, we definitely will, but I just don't know if he's going to get the game time he deserves because I'm hoping that we bring in a right winger to back up Kudus on that right side. All right, and we are now to match day against Leeds United for our first game in the Premier League. As you can see, some teams have already played their games, but these are going to be all the teams that are going to be in the Premier League this season. I believe I saw one interesting team down there towards the bottom. Sunderland have made their way back out to the Premier League, so that is very exciting to see for them. But yeah, those are all the teams that are in the Premier League to play this year. It's going to be an interesting season. I'm ready to get into it, and I hope you guys are ready for it as well. Sorry if this episode has been really long, but there's just a lot of things we have to go over for transfers and just for the transfer window in general. So that's going to be Leeds United team that we're going to be facing, and we are obviously going to be putting out our best lineup that we can put out for this game. And I'm excited to get into it, excited to see some new faces in the squad, so let's get to it. Moretti with an interception in midfield, his first touch for the club. João Pedro, just way to ruin the chance. Moretti looking inside for Almada. Almada, I see Garnacho over here. Gonna look for a pass down to João Pedro. We do find him, just nowhere to go quite yet. A very heavy touch. And another turnover by João Pedro early on in this game. Almada pushing forward here, looking for Garnacho. We're gonna send João Pedro through down this line here. Gonna look for a pass inside to Kudus, who finds a goal. Didn't hit the post. Didn't miss the net at all. Found the back of it. 23 minutes gone. We take a 1-0 lead over Leeds. Mohamed Kudus proving the haters wrong early on in this season. Kudus, a crossfield pass. Somehow finds its way to Kirkez. Trying to look inside for Garnacho. Found him. João Pedro going to end up with it. Wow. I don't know if anybody was offsides there. I thought somebody had to have been. Looks like it was João Pedro on that final pass. Just by a foot, unfortunately. Overlapping run here from Sacha Boey. I don't know if his passing is too good, but we're going to try to look for Garnacho on that back post. And unfortunately can't find him. Pickford collects. Aronson pushing down this right wing, looking for a cross inside. Sacha Boey deals with it well. Gets a Fernandez, almost dispossessed there. Almada, can we find a pass over the top to Kudus? We sort of find it to him. We're going to continue moving forward here. Kudus over here to Garnacho. Garnacho through to Almada, who can't get a shot away, and they clear it out. And now Leeds one final attack here in the first half. Daniel James pushing forward, getting a shot away. I thought Diamande was going to be able to get a tackle in there. Verbruggen does make the save, though. A corner here for Leeds will be the last action of the first half. A good corner swung in, but Verbruggen collects. But Moretti continuing the defense there. João Pedro was just so slow with that turn. Sasha Bowie, the nice pass. He gets to Fernandez. That ball gets through to Kudus. He's going to look inside. Pass was a little bit late, and we're just going to try to continue to play some defense on them. They're able to get it out. And now Daniel James with his pace pushing forward. That cross right at Verbruggen. 60 minutes gone. Only one true chance, I think, for either team throughout the game. We're going to try to get on a break here, but we can't. Garnacho going to wait on an overlapping run here from Kirkez, who gets defended very well by Patterson. Going to try to put some pressure on Pickford. He clears that one out. But this might give us a chance to push forward yet again. João Pedro inside to Kirkez, who finds Sasha Bowie, who finds Fernandez, but good defense again by Leeds. João Pedro finds Kudus. Kudus is fouled in midfield. Not a good challenge there by Llorente, I believe is who that was. Don't think he's going to end up with a card, but we will get a free kick, 72 minutes gone. And we will go ahead and make a couple of subs ourselves, and this is when it's very nice to have the quality of players that we are going to have this season. Almada and Garnacho coming off, for 80D off and Bino Gittins, so 80-plus overall players coming off and bringing on 80-plus overall players. Wow, they are still trying to play it out from the back. Bino Gittins almost gets in a steal there. Leeds pushing forward now. I don't know what exactly the plan was there. Kirkez inside to Moretti. Moretti down here to get to Fernandez, who has some pace. Not sure if he's going to be able to get around this last defender. He's going to cut inside, though. And it does look like he is going to be able to score, and simply does not. Wow. And it's chances like that that we simply have to put away because, I mean, Leeds are pushing forward here now, and they could easily find one back. That cross is terrible, though. Diamande deals with it. Aronson tried to push forward. Bino Gittins ends up with the ball off of the Diamande deflection, and we can just push forward here. We can waste time if we want. I'm going to wait for our attackers to get up here. We're going to try to send in a cross. I mean, that was just piss poor, terrible cross, but we're going to end up with a 1-0 win, so it doesn't really matter. 93 minutes gone. The referee will blow his whistle. Mohamed Kudus with a goal to win the game in like the 25th minute. And that's where we're going to leave off the episode. 3 points in the bag. Currently sitting in 5th place just because of goal difference and things like that. Our next opponent will be West Ham, and we will finish up the summer transfer window in the next episode. Crystal Palace, an away game against them as well as a home game against Manchester United, and we'll see kind of how everything else plays out. Please be sure to leave your comments down below about the players you want us to bring in at striker. And then let me know if you want me to bring in Ernest Nuama as our backup right winger. He can play kind of backup right wing, backup striker, backup left winger. So I'm kind of excited to bring him in, but I'm going to leave that up to you guys depending on what you want to do. So yeah, please be sure to leave a comment about striker and about Nuama. And then, you know, let me know if you want me to bring in Fermin Lopez as well as backup. There's so many things we can do left with, you know, the money that we have. Even though we spent a lot of money in this episode, we still have 390 million that we could spend. So obviously not going to spend all of that, but it's been a great episode. I hope you guys are happy with the players we brought in. Almada, Moretti, and Sasha Bowie are all going to contribute to this team this season, and we can push for a Champions League title. I mean, I think the objective for this season, before we do go, I guess we could show the objectives. They want me to reach the final of the Champions League. It's obviously a low priority, but that's just insane. Domestically, UEFA Champions League place, we can do that. Win the cup, we could probably do that. Some financial goals here, a youth development goal here as well, and then as well as a brand exposure deal, which is just to win 10 games at home. So I think we're going to be able to complete that one. So thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to like the video. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.